everyone. Welcome to the September edition of the Lit Gals. We are so excited to be here. As always, I am Martie Hoofer from Keep Indiana Learning, the digital content manager, and this is my favorite half hour-ish of the month. And it's also the fastest half hour of the month. My to be read pile grows. I learn a lot, and it's fantastic. So we are happy to be here with you today. Morgan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I'm Morgan Mason. I am also on the Keep Indiana Learning team. I am a professional learning specialist in early literacy. So literacy is my jam. I also look forward to this half hour every month. I love chatting about books and all things literacy.
Yeah.
Anna, what about you?
Hello, my name is Anna Cook, and I'm a literacy specialist all over the state of Indiana, Illinois, you name it, I'll be there. Just love literacy. It is definitely my passion, and I love the 30 minutes that we have together every month. It's very special, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So today we are going to be talking about fact or fascination, nonfiction. And I think that sometimes nonfiction gets a bad rap, if you will. And so when we were thinking about our title for this month, we came up with fact or fascination, because fascination can definitely pick our interest, right? Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of good and interesting nonfiction books to share with you today. So I'd like to start out. I know that Morgan usually does the primary and elementary, but I have two books here that, well, one of them that my grandsons absolutely love. The first one is called I Was Born a Baby. And may I please read for just a couple of pages? It says, I was born a baby. I was born a colt. I was born a piglet. I'm a billy goat. I was born a fawn. I was born a kit. I was born a little lamb. I was born a chick. No way. No how. That can't be true. I'm a chick. No, I'm a chick. I'm a chick too. So this book goes on to talk about babies and what they are named, what they're called. And there's a lot of different species that are called the same thing, like a chick.
And Anna, those pictures are adorable. Yes. Oh my goodness.
They're so cute. I love them. I love them. My boys really love this book too.
And what a great way to introduce that to kiddos.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my toddler, and if I tried to explain a piglet to him right now, I think he'd really struggle. So that's a great way to introduce all the different, hey, they have different names when they're babies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love this book. So I was thinking also about when I taught 4th and 5th grade, and nonfiction can be rather dry, if you will, especially in those grades. And so there was a book that I found, and it's called All the Way to the Top: How One Girl's Fight for Americans with Disabilities Changed Everything. Mm-hmm. This is a true story about a girl who had cerebral palsy. And she was in a wheelchair bound. And when she was 8 years old, she was one of the key participants in the Capitol crawl. She was one of the first to protest in Phoenix, Arizona in 1987. And ultimately, she was one of the key players in the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Just a fabulous book. But it talks about her disability and how she really felt left out when she was a young girl. And she just wanted to be with her friends. She just wanted to participate. like her friends was participating, and even something as small as getting into a building.
Yeah.
She was not able to do.
So Anna, I love that book for two reasons. I love the idea of helping kids understand there's so much power in one person. We so often think, but I'm just one. Oh, but what just one can do. And I think that's really empowering to kids. And two, it's a long side story, but I spent, as an adult, 6 weeks in a wheelchair, and it completely opened my eyes to how inaccessible places still are today. Like in my entire middle school, there was one restroom that I could use without assistance, and it was all the way at the other end of the building from my classroom. And so I think books like that are great. One of the reasons I'm a reader is that idea of empathy and understanding things from a different perspective. And the things you could do with that book in a classroom.
Incredible. It's just incredible. Well, and not like you said, all of the things, even looking at the actual, the law that was put into place.
Yeah.
And what those words mean. It's just a fabulous book. And, Martie, it's interesting that you should say being in a wheelchair. I was merely in a walking boot, if you will, for 6 weeks. And you're not kidding. Even to this day, there were times that I thought, there's just no way. There's no way that I'll be able to participate with my friends.
Yeah.
Or,
Yep.
let alone being in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So those are two very diverse books, but they're two books that definitely mean a lot to me. And I've used one with my grandkids, my grandsons, and the other one in my actual classroom.
Love it.
So thank you.
I love that.
Okay, Morgan, I took the books.
No, I love it. And
I thought, what's Morgan going to talk about now?
Honestly, we didn't even plan it this way. We didn't talk about it, but it worked out perfectly because I took a different approach this time. I did not really focus on the primary, elementary, toddler books this time because I had books I wanted to share that I've been reading. So back to what you said, Martie, about just why you're a reader and the empathy and learning about people that are different than you. I actually have been reading one of your suggestions from a previous Lit Gals. They called me a Lioness by, I may butcher her name, Ahed Tamimi. But that has been so eye-opening for me.
So eye-opening.
I am learning so much. So that I just appreciate you sharing that and giving me your copy to read, because that has been so cool just to learn about, things that have been going on for decades that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
So that's my first one. The other one that I wanted to talk about is, I mentioned in another Lit Gals episode a couple months back, a book called Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. And it's a fictional story, but based on true events, based on the Tennessee Children's Home Society and the events that went on back in the 80s, I want to say. So that was a fictional story. I have then found another version of this where it's called Before and After, and it's actually the true stories of the kiddos that went through that that orphanage, that children's society. So that has been really, really interesting. And I've learned so much just about something in our history that maybe not everyone knows about, but I went from, I was really into this fictional story about these real events. And so then I had to dive into this nonfiction. And we talked a little bit as we were getting ready for today, just about the power of that, especially in the classroom, and getting students excited for, because like you mentioned, Anna, sometimes nonfiction, people think, nonfiction, it's not going to be very exciting. But using a fictional story to introduce nonfiction events can be a really powerful way to get kids engaged, get them hooked, get them excited about reading some of those topics that maybe they wouldn't normally gravitate towards.
Yes.
So that's been fun. I have one more. And I'm all over the place with my nonfiction books, but I've also been reading The Art of Coaching Teams by Elena Aguilar. So that is we're actually doing it as a book study with our team here at Keep Nana Learning. So I'm just learning about being a part of a team and coaching teams and being a leader in that role. So that's been a fun little side read that I've been doing and doing some activities with and having good conversations on. So again, across the board with my nonfiction picks for this episode.
Well, and that's
Martie, thank you so much. Giving books, how wonderful is that?
I know.
Just spreading the joy and the cheer with books that you have read. You do that a lot. Thank you.
Yes. And she even left me a note that said, like, take your time with this. And I have been taking my time because you know me, I'm usually an audiobook girl just because of life right now. So I love having the physical book and reading it, but it's taking me a little longer to get through because I'm like, if I have a chance to pick it up, I may not get very far, but so I appreciate you saying, hey, take as long as you need.
I'm in no hurry. I've read it. And there's very few books that I get in a hurry for because there's always something else to read. I'll get to it. So I'll be honest with you, ladies. Nonfiction is not my favorite. And I'm going to pick up a fiction book over a nonfiction pretty much any day of the week.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of students are the same way, that they just find it dry because so much in a student's life that's nonfiction is a textbook.
Right.
And they're just not excited.
We've been programmed, We've been programmed, you guys.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. Teachers, and then it trickles down.
Mm-hmm. So I continue to carry that bias. I'll just call it what it is. It's a bias against nonfiction. And so I love books that are nonfiction that allow me to learn, but still suck me in some way, that they're not too much history, too many facts. I have a friend who used that phrase with a book club book. She's like, too many facts. And so I think it's important that we find books that kids can learn from while enjoying. So that's the route I took as I thought about my books. The first one is a graphic novel, March by Representative John Lewis. He's the one who marched across the bridge in Selma. And this is a trilogy. This is just the first one. But if you've not read this, highly encourage you to read it. Have you read it, Anna?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, some teachers and I did an entire unit.
Oh, cool.
Yes, on John Lewis.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. And they were so excited to do it. And that is one of the books.
Yeah. And I think, thinking about a unit, okay, so he walks across a bridge. That's like a major event for John Lewis is the bridge in Selma. You could tie that into STEM lessons about bridges, and you've got the history, and then, the amount of units, endless.
It literally did go on and on, or it could have. Yes. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So
there's and I just chose this one because I happen to love it, but I can think of many other nonfiction graphic novels out there that are a fantastic way to learn about events in a very non-threatening way. They're not big and, there's pictures. So graphic novels, highly recommend. This one I've talked about on the Lit Gals before, but it is so worth talking about again. It's called I Will Always Write Back. It is a long series, as you can see, of letters between two pen pals who meet in middle school, and they write for years.
Oh, that's really cool.
And so Caitlin is the girl's name who lives here in the States. Martin is the boy who lived in, I can't remember where, and the back doesn't tell me, Zimbabwe. There it is. And there they are. These little kiddos when they first meet, they're adorable. And then just, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. So again, nonfiction in a different way. And you learn about Zimbabwe and all kinds of things. Oh my word, the life.
Martie, I have a question about that. Does it share, did they meet because of a pen pal program, or okay. I'm just interested how they got connected. That's so cool.
Yep. And so funny, pen pal program. I did that in my classroom for a couple of years. Yeah. And so I taught 7th grade. And last spring, I ran into a boy. He was graduating from Pike High School. So as a senior, I had him as a 7th grader, and I asked him how things were going and blah, blah, blah. And what does he remember about my class? His pen pal.
Mhm.
His pen pal.
Yep.
He
It's
remembered
those
nothing.
connections, Martie.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
connections, the relationships that were built,
Lasting.
Yeah.
whether they lasted or not.
Yeah.
Yep.
It
They
means
lasted for
so
that
much
school
to
year.
these kids. It just means a lot, especially to middle school and high
Yep.
school. It
Yeah.
just does.
When you're feeling a little lost yourself. So
Yep.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is such a fun book. I would say this is like 5th grade and up. 5th grade, like read aloud, but then middle schoolers could totally tackle it on their own. And then these two fall into the narrative nonfiction camp, which is where you take a story like Morgan, you talked about. You take true events and they just naturally tell this story. This is called Impossible Escape, a true story of survival and heroism in Nazi Europe. And I can't say enough good things about this book. Rudy is the boy's name. And I'll just read you one line from the back cover. It says, "Someone needed to get out and tell the world what was happening in Auschwitz. Rudy decided he would be the one to do it. He was 18 years old."
Wow.
And I could not stop reading it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of World War II literature. It's just not, I hate how awful people were to each other. And it breaks my heart to read, so I tend not to. But man, meeting Rudy and what he did to tell the story, to get word out is, I have chills now. Middle schoolers would eat that up.
See, and I am a big fan of World War II. Like, I just love learning about it. So that I'm definitely going to be checking that one out.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You'll tear through it. It's not very long. It's
Okay,
fantastic.
love that.
And this one I'm not going to say a lot about, but I've never talked about it on the show, and it has to be talked about. This book falls into the every Hoosier should read this book. It's called The Fever in the Heartland by Timothy Egan. And the Ku Klux Klan's plot to take over America and the woman who stopped them. You will go to the Noblesville courthouse. You will go to Irvington for those Central Indiana peeps.
Wow.
Every Hoosier needs to read this book. And as you read it, you have to remember every word in it is true.
Wow.
So that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
Put it on your list. Morgan,
What grade?
I'm adding it.
Ooh, what grade? There's nothing bad per se, content-wise, but I wouldn't put it in my middle school classroom. I might recommend it to a few specific kiddos, but I would safely sit it on a high school shelf.
Okay.
No qualms about a high school shelf at all.
Okay.
Yeah. Every Hoosier needs to read this book and then have your mind blown and think, holy cow. And it's not ancient history. It's not crazy bonkers. So there's my nonfiction take is it doesn't just have to be dry. I mean, and there's a place for articles. I mean, we have to do that with kids, but I think it needs to be a mixture of articles and textbooks and the narrative nonfiction all woven together. I think we get more bang for our buck that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, wow, we have covered a lot of books.
A lot of books.
In a short amount of time.
And the variety today.
Yes.
From I Was Born a Baby to A Fever in the Heartland.
Only here, girls. Only here can you do that.
Only here. I agree with that completely. Only here, only in these 20 minutes do you get that kind of variety in your life.
I honestly would be shocked if someone watched this and didn't leave with at least one that they were like, yes, that sounds like something I want to read.
I agree. And that's our point. At least one that you want to read. That's our point. All right. So, Anna, what are you currently reading or listening to? I never know with you. I know Morgan's typically listening.
I know.
You, I never know.
I know. Well, I haven't been traveling that much on the road. So, yeah. So the listening has been kind of curtailed.
Okay.
But one thing that you guys have got to just stop me. Just stop me. Another Elin Hildebrand. I got to stop. Okay. Enough is enough. Anyway, this is called The Summer Affair. And most of you, I'm sure, have heard of Elin Hildebrand. She is the one that wrote The Perfect Couple, which is now on Netflix. I just love her writing. And she does write in a variety of ways. So you don't really know until you open it up the route that she's going to take. But I promise this is my last one for this year.
We'll see.
Anna, I don't believe you.
We'll see you next month with another one.
And so Anna will probably read that one next spring or summer. Yeah.
There you go.
Love it.
That's funny.
So Morgan, what are you reading? Listening
Okay.
to?
I am listening to it. I fly through these books when I'm listening to them. My husband, I was folding laundry the other day and I was just listening to it. I didn't have my headphones in or anything. And he was like, how fast are you listening to this? And he's like, are you comprehending? And I'm like, yeah, that's just how I read them. Anyways, I am listening to, it's called Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. It's a mystery. I've read a couple of her books and I've liked them. This one has me hooked. It's one of those where it's going back and forth between the present and the past, and I have no idea where it's going.
Ooh.
I have a lot of theories, and I think she's purposely doing that. She's purposely trying to steer you in a lot of different directions, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I love that. So I will probably finish this by, I'd say, at least by the weekend, if not sooner. So that one's a great one. And then I have to mention one that I just finished. Again, another mystery. It's called The Stranger in the Mirror by Liv Constantine. And that was another one that just kept me guessing the whole time. I think I listened to it in 2 days. Just as I was driving, folding laundry, closing down the house for the night. I was just, every chance I had to put my headphones in and listen to it. So
Good.
So what was the title of the first one?
Sometimes I Lie.
Okay. Those are both really catchy titles.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
The daycare teacher and I always trade book recommendations. And as soon as I sent her those, she was like, both of those, like the titles right away are like, okay, I'm interested.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll wrap this up. I'll continue the mystery theme for a moment. This is a book I just finished called Silent Sister. And I'm not a mystery reader, but this one, I don't know where it crossed my path. But it's a debut author. I love debut authors. And twin sisters, they're seniors. They go off to their senior retreat. And I'm not going to tell you anything that's not on the back cover. One of the sisters dies. And then it's say what happened. Because the sister that comes home has amnesia. So we don't know what happens. And Morgan, it runs that dual timeline as well. I'm not a mystery lover, but this one, I could not figure out where it was going. And when it unveiled itself, I'm like, oh, I never saw that.
Okay, so you finished it?
I have finished it, yeah.
Okay,
And
what was it called again?
Silent Sister.
I just wrote it down.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I don't read a lot of mysteries. And so when kids used to ask me for recommendations, I was always like, I don't have many. I wish I had kids to recommend this to, because like 7th grade and up, especially girls, would love it because it's very relatable and just a dang good story.
Good.
So I liked it. The one I'm reading right now is called This Summer Will Be Different. And I will say none of my brain cells are going to get any smarter because I'm reading this book. But it's set on Princess.
Sort of like this one.
Yeah, sometimes you need those books.
Well, and the reason I'm reading this one is it's set on Prince Edward Island, and I'm going to soon be visiting Prince Edward Island. So it was a fun little, why not? And yeah, so I got the skip the line on Libby, so I was super excited. I got to skip like 154 holds and jump in.
How did you get that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it was like, I don't know. You put books on hold on Libby, and then I don't know. You get this little notification that says it's your lucky day. You get to skip the line. Now I have
never been that lucky.
I've never been lucky.
I was with this one. No, I only have 7 days to read it. So I'm
rather than the
luckily
21, but
yeah, right. Instead of the 21, luckily I'm getting on an airplane soon and I'm gonna finish this book. But it's a fun, Anna, it kind of makes me go think of the one you're reading. It's just fun.
Okay.
mindless.
Good.
It's fun.
No
And
judgment.
No,
No judgment.
no. It doesn't matter what you read, it matters that you read.
Yeah.
That you read. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are at the end of our time today. What a fantastic episode. So much diversity today in the books we talked about. I love it. I love it.
Fun.
So, as always, be well.
Do good work.
Keep in touch.